Good good morning, everyone. This is New Year's Eve, and it's time to make some food. It's funny because I got a few dishes I got planned that I'm about to work on. For example, for my children, I'm about to make some pizzas on this nice griddle. And I'm about to make some pancakes on this nice griddle. I didn't meant to say pizza. And I'm about to make some pizza. And I'm going to try to use this blender here and see if the dough blends together like my pot pie I made yesterday. So I'm going to tell you guys what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And let's get started. Since I want to make the dough part last, I'm going to take some onions and garlic, cut them up, chop them up. Okay, so I'm getting my cutting board here ready so I can start chopping some stuff up. And I'm going to stick them in my blender, and I'm going to blend them up before I do my pizza dough because I'm going to need these onions and stuff in my meat part of my recipe. Okay? And I just play it by ear. I don't have such a recipe telling me how many garlics and stuff to use, so I play it by ear. This time of season, people are sick, and garlic is like a antibiotic, so people think it helps you not be sick in the wintertime. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to peel these garlics, all of them. So this is going to be a big pizza recipe. If it's a big pizza recipe, one garlic is not going to make too much of a stink, you know, in a big pizza recipe. You know, one thing I do like, though, that there's these programs that if you get a recipe off of a program, if you don't know how to make pizza, or if you don't know how to make stuff, just go online to allrecipes.com. And All Recipes has a recipe, but usually recipes that you get in a cookbook or anywhere are always recipes that teach you how to make enough food for a small amount. And I've noticed that if I use recipes from other people, that it's always never enough. Look at the servings, and the servings are the proper servings according to serving sizes and stuff like that. So whoever eats a 12-inch pizza, who wants a 12-inch pizza? That's like a Totino-sized pizza. So I'm going to have to make myself and multiply that recipe maybe 3 times. Because if it's 12 inches, and if it's 24 inches, I want it 36 inches, like a flat screen 30-inch TV. So, and then when you do it, it could be, you know, that they're counting on you to flatten the dough so much where it's so flat and it's not a thick crust like people like. And because I like thick crusts, I'm going to make sure I have enough for my recipe. So I left for 1 second because I want to make sure all my parts are clean. People are going to be like, oh wow, it's for a vampire. Nah, it's not for a vampire. As I said, I'm going to make a big recipe. And no, on recipes.com it doesn't tell you to put garlic and stuff in your dough. Sometimes I like to make my own recipe, so I take a best recipe and I turn it into my own. For the sake of being proper, doing it the right way, knowing how much yeast you're supposed to use and stuff like that. That's it. I'm going to stick it in my blender. I'm not going to do a whole lot of expensive stuff. I'm just going to take the stuff off, stick it in, voila, and, you know, the easiest, fast way to do this. Now, I'm not going to say 2 little onions is going to be enough for the whole recipe, but we'll just play it by ear and see what happens. Fix it in here. I'll stick my onions and my garlic in here. And chopped onions, and chopped garlic. Perfect. And believe you me, it's as if I chopped this by hand because my eyes are burning. Man, my eyes are burning. I can't see nothing. My eyes are burning. Okay, I took out most of the onions and the garlic. And I left a little bit there on purpose because I want to make sure that my dough comes out with a good taste and flavor to it. So I left this much in there. Just a little bit, but that's how much I left in there for my dough part. So here we go. And here we are. My recipe calls for 2.5 teaspoons of sugar together with 4.5 teaspoons of dry yeast. Thank goodness for conversions online because it says 0.25 ounce package of dry yeast. But it says I don't have a 0.25 dry yeast. I have a jar of quick rise yeast for bread machines, additional bacon, and whatever else you want to do with it. Quick rise dry yeast. So I went online to convert these ounces to teaspoons. And what it said, well, this says use a half teaspoon for each cup of flour. So, anyways, I'm using 4.5 teaspoons of dry yeast. So, what I have here is some morena cane sugar, because I don't have regular sugar, because I want to use up my sugar. And I bought this for something else, but since this is what I have, this is what I'm going to use. It's 2.5 teaspoons of morena cane sugar. Here we go. 1, 2, and I'll just throw in an extra third just for good luck, because it looks like it's so tiny. How can this amount of sugar be good for bread? Well, anyway, then we're going to come over here. So now we're going to do the yeast part. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1/2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Since my 2-cup measuring cup is busy, I'm going to use this small cup. My recipe says 2.5 cups of water. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so I put 1.5, so it's 2.5 cups of water, and I have got this reason to believe that this is not going to be big enough for this recipe. But anyways, I'm going to cream it, and we'll see what happens. Alrighty, for this part of the story, I'm going to be using the premium pork sausage. Premium pork sausage, and this sausage tastes good. Kind of like beans, but it still tastes good. And I'm going to use my sausage for 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to use my sausage to make these. I think I'm going to make pizza pockets, not pizzas, because it's for a party. And I'm going to use this sausage to put in my pancakes because every time I do it, it is so delicious. Watch and see. At this point in time, I'm browning the sausage. Which, you know, it only takes a few minutes for that stuff to get brown. I'm chopping it and browning it at the same time because I don't want to beat them getting chunks in there. Apply the browning sausage. Has to be completely brown and chop the pieces before you use it. It's been a while since I came here with some recipes. I should have put the one yesterday, but I was kind of in a hurry. Can you believe somebody actually made a homemade pot pie from scratch in 1 hour? Well, yesterday I made my homemade pot pie from scratch in 1 hour. Whipped up the dough so fast you wouldn't even think I whipped up the dough as fast as I did. Anyways, so what I'm doing right now is just breaking up the meat and cooking it. And I know that this sausage already comes flavored with all the salt you need. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add some onion powder just for some nice little oniony flavors. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. I always have to change stuff. I don't know why, but that's me. I always got to change stuff. So now, this sausage is almost completely cooked and ready to use for my pizza. Uh-oh. That steam came up and touched my camera, so I had to get that steam off. For my pizza part of the recipe, I'm going to add Italian seasoning. I'm going to add a little bit of adobo sazon to give it a little Mexican flair. Okay, so I added Italian seasoning, my little adobo, a little bit of thyme, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of pepper. Got to make this actually smell like some Italian sausage. And believe me, this is some good sausage. Italian sausage, pork sausage with seasonings in it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm putting a little bit of extra seasonings in it for the Italian part. You can put anything you want on pizza. You can put chicken, you can put pork, you can put beef, you can put bacon. Anything that you have, you can use it for pizza. So this is what I'm doing for this part. Now this part is done. So I'm going to take this off the flame so it does not burn. Alright, so we're back to the dough recipe. The dough, the yeast and sugar has been sitting there until creamy. So what I did is I added some Italian seasoning for my flair. You know I have to change my recipes. Black pepper, garlic salt, onion salt, and I'm about to add, the recipe says 2.5 teaspoons of salt, but since I'm a low salt user, I'm using adobo. There's a half teaspoon of adobo. Next, I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of nature's seasonings, or actually 2 teaspoons of nature's seasonings, and replace with the salt because it has salt in it. It's just not concentrate because it has other things like black pepper, spices, onion powders, and garlic powders, and parsley, and celery seeds, and whatever else. Okay, so let me pause. So now it's time to put 6 cups of flour in my 2, 3. This is pretty funny. My dough is orange, but I haven't finished yet, so I'm about to put the rest of the flour. Just wanted to mix it together so it'll be all mixed up together. And this is number 3, 4, And I forgot the olive oil part, so I'm going to add this Romeo olive oil, pumice oil right now. It's a fourth cup and a tablespoon. Here's my fourth cup of olive oil and a tablespoon. Pouring it in right now. And I'm going to mix it here. So, here's my dough. I turned it out, and now I'm going to let it rest. So this is what I'm doing. I put this on top of here. Let it rest and see if it doubles in size. So as yeast rises. Yeast is just like thin. Put a little bit in it, and it rises and multiplies. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to let it rest, and I'm going to go make my pancakes. So I'll see you when this is ready to be made.